Title: The Lost Dimension. So, I was messing around online late one night, like 3 a.m. level insomnia, and I stumbled on this obscure subreddit claiming to catalog lost dimensions from Rick and Morty. Most of it was obvious fan stuff, crappy art, weird fan theories, but there was this one post with only a link titled C2747 Purged. I shouldn't have clicked it, but of course I did. It led to a low-res video file. No thumbnail. Just the title, RNMS7EOO, cleancut.mp4. Never heard of it. I've seen every season, and season 7 didn't have any episode 0. The video started like a normal episode. Rick and Morty standing outside the garage. Rick looked off. His eyes were too sunken. His lab coat was soaked in something dark. Not quite blood, more like oil. Morty was quiet. Too quiet. The background hum, usually there to add life, was gone. Just silence. No birds, no wind, just the slow mechanical whine in the distance. Rick muttered something about cleansing the multiverse, then held up a device that looked like a mix between a blender and a heart monitor. He called it the entropy shear. Morty looked terrified and asked if this was another one of Rick's genocide gadgets. Rick didn't answer. He just said, "There are too many copies of us. Too many failures. We're cleaning house." Then he pressed the button. Suddenly, portals opened, but not the usual green ones. These were black, and they didn't shimmer. They pulsed like open wounds. Through them came distorted versions of Rick and Morty. Some had missing limbs. One Morty was just a torso with blinking eyes and no mouth. One Rick had a constantly spinning head, like a broken animatronic. They didn't speak. They screamed. Rick and Morty from C-137 fought them off using increasingly horrific weapons. Acid air grenades, entropy knives, something that liquefied alternate versions instantly. I thought maybe it was just some edgy fan animation until something really weird happened. The screen glitched and cut to static, then came back. Not animated anymore, live action, like actually real people. But it wasn't a parody. It was Rick, sort of. A man with a white lab coat, drooling, red around the eyes, standing in a warehouse lit by flickering fluorescent lights. He was holding a camera and breathing heavily. He said, "There is no cannon. There is only the bleed." The camera panned to a wall covered in sticky notes. Dozens of them. Each one had a universe label. C137, C500, C2747. All scratched out, except one. You. I froze. The screen distorted, and the camera zoomed into the sticky note that said you. Behind it was a mirror, and for half a second, I swear on everything, I saw my own reflection. But it was wrong. My face was slack, eyes hollow, like I hadn't slept in weeks. My skin looked too pale, too thin. I blinked, and the screen cut back to animation. Morty was screaming now. The real C-137 Morty. He was begging Rick to stop, saying they weren't cleaning. They were burning everything. Rick finally turned to him and whispered, "We've done this before. You just don't remember. You never remember." The last shot of the episode was Morty looking directly into the camera. He didn't blink. His eyes started to bleed. He reached out slowly, like trying to touch the screen. Then it went black. But here's the thing that really messed me up. When the video ended, my laptop webcam light came on. I never turned it on. I slammed the laptop shut, tossed it on the floor. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. When I finally worked up the nerve to turn the laptop back on, the file was gone. Not in my downloads, not in browser history, not even in the cache. Just gone. But now sometimes, when I close my eyes, just before I drift off, I see black portals, and I hear Rick's voice, whispering, "We're already inside." The static dimension, the multiverse, was quiet, too quiet, as Rick Sanchez fiddled with his portal gun in the garage. Morty sat on a stool, nervously tapping his foot, watching Rick's hands move with mechanical precision. The air smelled of ozone and burnt circuits, the usual ambience of Rick's late-night experiments. But tonight felt different. The shadows in the corners of the room seemed to writhe. and the hum of Rick's tech was drowned out by an eerie low-frequency buzz. "Rick, are you sure this is safe?" Morty stammered, clutching his knees. "I mean, you said this dimension was like weird, not just regular weird." Rick didn't look up, his bloodshot eyes fixed on the device. "Relax, Morty. It's just a quick hop to Dimension X13. In and out. 5 minutes. We grab the quantum flux capacitor, and we're gone." "Stop being such a little," he paused, squinting at the portal gun as it sparked unexpectedly. "That's not supposed to happen." The portal gun whirred, and a jagged green rift tore open in the air. But it wasn't the usual smooth vortex. It flickered like a broken TV screen, static crawling across its surface. Rick frowned, muttering cheap-ass lithium batteries, before shoving Morty toward the portal. "Come on, Morty, no time to whine. Adventure awaits." Morty stumbled through, and the world dissolved into a haze of gray static. When his vision cleared, he was standing in a version of their neighborhood, but everything was wrong. The houses were distorted, their edges melting like wax. The sky was a sickly gray, streaked with flickering lines like an old CRT monitor, and the silence that was suffocating, broken only by a faint rhythmic hum that seemed to pulse from the ground itself. "Rick, this place is creeping me out," Morty whispered, his voice swallowed by the oppressive air. "Where's the capacitor thing?" Rick scanned the surroundings, his usual cockiness replaced by a rare flicker of unease. "It's around here somewhere. Stay close, Morty. This dimension's got a bad vibe." He checked his portal gun, but the screen was glitching, displaying random symbols and numbers. "Damn it. Signal's jammed. We're stuck until I fix this." They trudged through the warped neighborhood, passing versions of their house that looked abandoned, windows dark and doors hanging off hinges. Morty swore he saw movement inside one, a shadow that didn't match any shape he knew. "Rick, did you see that? Something's in there." "Focus, Morty," Rick snapped, but his voice wavered. He was sweating now, his hands shaking as he tinkered with the portal gun. "It's just dimensional noise. Optical illusions. Nothing real." But Morty wasn't so sure. The hum was getting louder, vibrating in his chest, and the air felt thick, like breathing through wet cloth. Then they heard it, a voice distorted and crackling, like it was coming through a broken radio. "Rick, Morty." Morty froze. What the hell was that? "Rick, that was our names." Rick's face paled, but he forced a laugh. "Probably just some interdimensional pranksters." "Come on, Morty, don't wet your pants." He kept walking, but his pace quickened, and Morty noticed he was gripping the portal gun like a lifeline. They reached the town square, where the statue of Blim Blum the Corblokian was supposed to stand. Instead, there was a figure, a twisted, glitching amalgamation of Rick and Morty's faces, its body a mess of static and shifting pixels. Its eyes were empty, glowing white, and it spoke in that same crackling voice. "You shouldn't be here. This is the static dimension. You're breaking the signal." Morty screamed, stumbling back, but Rick grabbed his arm. "Don't look at it, Morty. It's a mimetic entity, some kind of dimensional parasite. It's feeding off our presence." He fired a plasma pistol at the figure, but the shots passed through, dissipating into static. The figure glitched closer, its form splitting and reforming. "Stay. Join the signal. Become eternal." The hum intensified, and Morty felt his thoughts fuzzing, like his brain was tuning to a dead channel. He saw flashes, memories of adventures, but wrong, twisted. Rick bleeding out on an alien planet, Jerry's face melting into static, Summer's voice screaming his name, then silence. "Rick, do something," Morty wailed, tears streaming down his face. "I'm trying, damn it," Rick shouted, frantically rewiring the portal gun. The figure loomed closer, its glitching hands reaching out. Morty felt a cold, electric jolt as it brushed his arm, and for a moment, his vision filled with static. He saw himself, countless versions, all trapped in this gray hell, their faces frozen in terror. With a final spark, the portal gun hummed to life. Rick yanked Morty through the rift, just as the figure's hands closed around empty air. They landed hard in the garage, the portal collapsing behind them. The familiar hum of Rick's tech returned, but Morty couldn't shake the feeling that the static was still in his head. Rick tossed the portal gun onto the workbench, panting. "Okay, Morty, maybe X-13 was a bad call. Let's never do that again." Morty nodded, his heart still racing. But as he glanced at the TV in the living room, it flickered on by itself, showing nothing but static. And from the speakers, faint but unmistakable, came a voice. "Rick, Morty."